So today it's time to start on some of the wiring. Main bit is just to get the bulk of the wires in the walls and ceiling and stuff so that I can finish insulating and get the ply lining on, not the ply lining, carpet lining done. There'll be a few bits and pieces of ply, but not that much because obviously most of it's windows. So the wiring for this van is going to be a lot more complex than the last van because there's a lot more going in it. I will probably cut to a video from my computer now because I've got some diagrams on there I can show you from there. So between the wiring diagrams and the spreadsheet calculating the size of cable, I now know whereabouts I need to put what cables, or at least roughly anyway. I mean, I'll leave plenty of length on them so that I can tweak the position of the... I've been having a few issues with buzzing on the microphone and stuff. I've changed the cable, that hasn't really helped, so now I need to get into the habit of turning my phone onto airplane mode, and hopefully that will stop the issues. Okay, so now I've got my wiring diagram and my calculations done. I know what cable size needs to go roughly where, and the plan now is to just start getting those cables in the walls, at least roughly, so that I can finish off the insulation and stuff behind them.
The old songs from before we were born, tales full of laughter and ballads we mourn, songs near forgotten and songs we knew well, songs with a history and songs with a tale. With a smile on his face and a tear in his eye, he sang the old songs till the end of the night. Left behind, beautifully aged and weathered by time. We're not without roots, just floating adrift, but his memory was keen and his bowing was swift. With a smile on his face and a tear in his eye, he sang the old songs till the end of the night. Together we left, cheering the heroes, the weak and oppressed. Music unites us in passion and song. He wove us together and made us belong. With a smile on our faces and tears in our eyes, we sang.
So today I've mostly been working on some more of the wiring for the van. This time putting the external hookup socket on. It's another one of those situations where it's very hard to show you because you can't get under it because we're underneath the van. So this isn't an amazingly practical place to put the socket in terms of being able to quickly and easily hook it up, but we're not intending to hook up very often because of the decent batteries, solar panels and inverter we've got. The electric hookup is just underneath this corner, just in there, so it'll be reachable from the outside, but you'll have to get it down on your hands and knees to do it. Here's one of the small steps we're trying to take to make sure that this is a high quality installation. On these cables, whenever they're going into a screw terminal, we're using these bootlace ferrules to make sure that the screws don't come loose. And the same will be applied inside the van as well. it's really important when you're putting these in that none of the fine strands are outside of the insulation. So here is the location of the electric hookup point. It's pretty well protected from the spray from the wheels. So one of the things I was doing while I was under there is looking where all the mud and dirt was getting sprayed to. So that, I mean, that's a waterproof socket, but at least it's not getting kind of direct spray. Obviously the location of this socket is really dependent on the vehicle you've got, and even with a Transit, that's probably fairly specific to the extra long wheelbase. The cable inside, let me show you where that comes up now. So I drilled a hole and put some conduit into one of the rear box sections, and then you can just about see it. Sorry, let me turn the light back on. Right, you can just about see the blue cable coming up the inside of there. In a minute it's coming here, and in a second I'm going to route it behind all the insulation down to where the distribution board's going to be down there. Also, it comes up through some of the steelwork it's behind that connector. So I'm going to put some more conduit on it where it passes over the steel edge. So on each location that I've got a cable going through the roof, I'm just putting a rubber grommet in to protect the cable from rubbing on the side of the van. Here we can see the grommet and the 4G antenna going through the roof. This is going to go through cable box so that it's water. So there you can see the two cable glands fitted. So this is the 4G antenna, which has actually got a magnetic base on. Hopefully that's going to work alright. We'll see how we get on. And then, that there is the solar input. So at the minute I haven't cut the cables or put the connectors on yet. Not quite ready for the solar panels. But when we do, I've got plenty of cable available, so I can cut it to the right length and then fit the MC4 connectors. Last couple of things to show is this is where the solar cables have come in, gone down, and then this is the 4G antenna. I've just got to do the same thing there, just cut a little channel and zip tie it in. I'm going to double check that it works before I hook it all up. And also, because this is a data line rather than a power line, I need to try and run it so it's not running next to the power, because that can cause interference. But that should be okay. The 4G router is going to be mounted a bit higher up on the cabinet anyway, to try and give us better Wi-Fi reception around the van. So it's time to have a quick look through the spaghetti that is the wiring so far. Right here, where all these cables are, all this bundle, is going to be the hub, heart of all of the electrical system. The battery is going to be back there, the inverter, distribution board, breakers, DC to DC charger, solar charger, 4G router. So all of that stuff's going to be in this area here. Everything down there is labelled, and I've used different coloured labels on my label maker for the different voltages. So we've got 240 volt, 12 volt, 24 volt for the lights, and then I've used white for the solar, because there'll be whatever voltage that comes out at, 30 something I think. From there we're going to have a distribution box up this area here, which is the front distribution box. And that's going to give us power for some 12 volt sockets, so cable runs back down and through here. There's also a 240 volt socket there. It's also going to supply the power into the shower for the light in the shower, and the extractor fan, which will be on a hygrometer powered switch. From there, and there's also a light in there. Then That feed also, there's another one up and over for the kitchen distribution box. So the kitchen distribution board is going to be behind this little radiator that's fallen over. Oops. So there's a distribution board under here for the kitchen. That's going to supply the fridge, the kitchen sockets. There's a 240 volt socket for the kitchen as well, and also there's going to be a 24 volt buck booster, so that I can then run the power for the Hue lights. So they're going to come up here, and then we've got a kitchen light. We've got a spare light in case we decide to add a fourth string. Then this is the front lights, and then the rear lights, the bedroom lights are over there. Then moving further back, oops, excuse these cables, this is temporarily, we're just hooking the Philips Hue strips up to the mains to give us some extra light in here. So again, from the distribution area, running through here and then up, we've got the blue wires, the Arctic cable for the 240 volt. Around here, this sort of area in here, there's going to be a big cupboard or big set of shelves, which is going to be the main area for having chargers and stuff accessible from the bedroom. This big cable here is our 12 volt to go up for our rear distribution board, so there's going to be a distribution board up there. That's going to come back down for the sockets in this, the 12 volt sockets in this cupboard, and also we've got some LED reading lights which we've got wires for there, and then the power for the max air fan just at the back there. And then the last distribution board is going to be just down here. Again, there'll be a 240 volt socket down there, and then we're going to have a distribution board for the garage, and from that there'll be, at the minute there's just going to be some sockets. I've just ordered an air compressor, so that's probably going to come off this one. Also both hot and cold water pumps, and the pump inside for the hot water pump itself. The heater is off its totally own separate feed, which is this cable here, which will be wired directly into the distribution board. Yeah, so as you can see, there's a lot of wires that have gone into this van. It's a lot more complex than our VW was, but it's also been thought out fairly logically. We've got 4 different distribution boards, so that I'm not running massive cables all the way throughout the van. There's 4 bigger cables and then smaller cables with local fuse boxes. I'm happy with how that's set up. Obviously we haven't put any of those fuse boxes in. This is just kind of that first fix wiring, so that we could get all the walls insulated and finished off. I'll do a more detailed video of with the wiring schematic and of these distribution boxes once we get that far.